We have a conversation.
Wordplay, what's going on, y'all? This is Odell and Stan, your favorite two-man band, and we are here to talk about marketing. And the sideshow of the day is Mike Tyson, 58 years young, fighting Jake Paul. Now, if you're anything like me or Stan, you are huge fans of sports, period. You're a huge fan of Mike Tyson. I know I've always been a fan of Mike Tyson. Jake Paul, nah, I don't know. Stan, what do you know about Jake Paul? Let's start there. Let's go ahead and start there. We are going to be talking about marketing. If you are a business, a company, and you're seeing this, retroactively, you can hire us to help with your marketing. But Stan, Jake Paul, what do you know about him?
I know him as Logan Paul's little brother. Maybe they grew up in Ohio or something. I suppose somewhat of a typical like rags to now riches deal. That's as much as I know about, let's say, his origin story, and then just became increasingly obnoxious. That got him a lot of attention. And I will say him and his brother are just committed to their character and like the person they play. But that is when it kind of came out of nowhere was the younger brother, and then just really excelled big time and made a space for himself, for his own, for his brand, and then just took off like that. That's what I know about him. And that's kind of what I know leading to present day. What about you?
Yeah, so we didn't talk about this in the pre-show. I actually don't know anything about Jake Paul or Logan Paul. I swear to beans, I don't. Wow. I've heard the names, but do they do MMA? Do they do boxing?
That means that
I forgot that you like before you mentioned that Logan Paul, I wouldn't have been able to tell which one was the deal. You know how I am, man. I literally don't pay attention to stuff on purpose. That so means like did Logan fight Floyd, or did let me clear on that.
Logan did fight. Yeah, Logan did fight Floyd, and Floyd kept him up for as long as he could. But that also means his focus is, I think I am on my goals, that you are far more focused. Like you got less, trash in your inbox. You know what I'm saying? You got less trash in your feed. They kind of started on Vine. I know Logan from Vine, and he was with King Batch, and I think they did skits together and stuff. And then they became influencers and took off. And Logan, for the longest, was the bigger name. And now he does WWE. He does wrestling, or WWF. Again, I don't want, but he does wrestling. And again, super committed. That you have to give to them. Not very likable, but really, really committed to their craft. And then, like I said, Jake kind of came up behind him, and just some of the crude things they did, I think. But anyway, it led to eyes, and there's a market for that. So they got really, really popular. And then he started fighting Jake, to revive, in his mind, I feel like revive the boxing world, started fighting folks that weren't started boxing guys that weren't boxers. Like, so he's boxed some MMA guys. And I can't actually first he boxed some NBA guy. I think Nate Robinson might have been one of his first fights. And he slept Nate Robinson, and then fought some other guys, and then some MMA guys, whatever. So that's kind of how he continuously just reinvented and created a very Don King-like presence for his people.
Got it. Okay. So now that we got the riffraff out the way, I think we should talk about how this could be helpful for everybody. And there's something that I want all of you to know, all of you to understand. We are all contributors of it. We are all a part of the problem. We are all a part of the solution. We are all a part of the audience. And Stan, you've heard me say this before. All business is show business. All business is show business. So if you like Mike Tyson, if you like Jake Paul, if you like boxing or not, if you hate Netflix, if you don't have a Netflix account, whatever it is, and this is something that, Stan, I've heard you say recently, you can talk more about it. The importance in your business having a dramatic demonstration. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, people can't help but to have the desire to want to be entertained. People want to lean, we naturally want to lean in. So what part of your business has a dramatic demonstration? And it's not always lights, camera, action, explosion. That isn't what it has to be in the context of your business. So it seemed, I use Chick-fil-A as an example. It's like their dramatic demonstration is their high level of customer service. Why is it a dramatic demonstration? Because not everyone has that level of customer service. Again, and I've mentioned Rolls-Royce, their dramatic demonstration is when a Rolls-Royce pulls up. If you don't know what the name of it is, you can just know it's not like anybody else. And the price alone is its dramatic demonstration. So in your business, there has to be, within context, some form of dramatic demonstration to pull people in, to help people lean in. If people, you could blame it on your audience. You can blame it on the lack of customer. You can blame it on a lot of things. But it is your responsibility to create a dramatic demonstration that will help people lean in to pay you.
That's good, man. And I'm going to add to that by saying with your dramatic demonstration, use sports, use entertainment as a model. And what do I mean by that? You don't know who's going to win between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. So the dramatic demonstration leads you to, oh man, Mike Tyson is fighting again. Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson used to be a beast back in the day. Starts conversation. Your dramatic demonstration should start conversations leading into the actual event. Then once it gets to the event, leads up to the event, Mike Tyson slaps Jake Paul and he's talking da 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 da. And then it's like, man, like this is crazy. What's gonna happen next?
Yes.
That's what you want your dramatic demonstration. That's the question that you want your dramatic demonstration to answer. What's going to happen next?
Yes.
Are they going to win? Are they going to lose? Am I going to get the thing? Am I not going to get the thing? Are they going to make it off the island? Are they not going to make it off the island? Are they going to end up together? Are they not going to end up together? Are they going to have sex? What's going to happen next? And most people's businesses, when they market, there's no answer to the question, what's going to happen next?
Whew, it's like the call to action. Can I veer off slightly? And actually, it's still in sports, but slightly. But it reminds me of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Like that was the perfect villain or villain hero. That and the what next for them was, I think they missed out on billions of dollars by not having at least one of them on the Olympic team. That's another discussion. But what they did, the what next was, oh, when are they going to play each other? What next was, oh, who's going to be rookie of the year? And because whoever is behind the scenes of all that did not hire us, things begin to fall flat on one end. And then towards the end of the season, one of the players gets injured. So it's like, hey, what's next? Because that, honestly, no one will say this, but that's really what helped explode. I can't remember the MVP's name. She's really good. They have some excellent players. Okay, this is not me saying either the Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark are the best players in the league. But my point is, when we talk about the excitement, the dramatic demonstration that really pulled eyes more to the sport, were those two. And there was no what's next, because once Angel Reese was hurt, now it's the rookie of the year. It kind of fizzles out. Heck, once Caitlin Clark is out of the playoffs, well, now it fizzles. There was no what's next. I didn't see them. Really quick, how did they miss the ball on this? I didn't see any commercials with them together. I didn't see any press conferences. What? It just hit me. Like they're like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan in commercials together. But
you see, hold on, pause. That's why whoever's listening should hire us.
Yeah.
That's why you should. Why weren't there commercials with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark? Why not? Shout out to Angel Reese. and Caitlin Clark. We're gonna have them on the show one day. I'm speaking it into existence.
Sure,
One of them.
have to.
Hey,
Okay.
we
We'll come
should
back
have
to it.
both of them on the show.
We
should
should
have both of them on the show.
I wanted to say
Talk
yes
about it because the marketing machine it continues on. And so back to what we're talking about as it relates to what you're talking about with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Most people that follow us are a little younger. Most people, they're a little younger. And I am a little younger than you, Stan. So you probably remember a little bit more of prime Mike Tyson. Yeah. I don't remember. I remember my earliest memory of Mike Tyson was when he got sent to prison. that was my earliest memory of him. I had heard about him, but I was like 7 years old or something when he went to prison, or 5 or 6 or 7 years old. And so the marketing machine that was Mike Tyson was pushed by Don King. And Mike Tyson, when he first, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, he really didn't have the personality and the words that he has now. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely fair.
So the what next was just who's he gonna knock out next. I remember my dad getting a couple pay-per-views, and he's got his friends over, and 2 seconds after it starts, it's over. It's like he would just beat people. So I remember that. And so now with Mike Tyson being 58 years young, it's like he about 60 years old. Like he's somebody granddaddy out there fighting. It's like you don't know what's going to happen next. And here's another part of the dramatic demonstration that I wanted to add to it is you want your audience to identify with a villain or a hero. And you mentioned it when you were talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. So for many, Jake Paul is the villain. I know he is for me. I want to see Uncle Mike knock him into back in time. That's what I want to do. But will that happen? We don't know. Is he going to catch Mike? We don't know. Villain or the hero? Thanos, snap. It's like maybe I identify with Thanos or not. So in your business as well, you have to make them pick a side. And Stan, you gave a great nugget. Somebody's probably going to see this after it's released, because this is going to be released after the fight. But what is just one way that Netflix could have made this a bigger deal? Because I believe that they did what Netflix did, what Netflix does. I have a huge base. They share it to their base. The fight is tonight. First, I think it's the first live like Netflix, or the second or whatnot. But what could they have done to really explode it?
They could have been, it sounds crazy to say this, but I don't know if it's Netflix's lane, more divisive, more polarizing. I don't know if I saw a commercial promoting the fight. I don't know if I saw that. Now it might be out there, but the sound bites that I saw during the weigh-ins, I thought those were amazing. But even if there are more commercials that were pointing to me, that targeted me, that watched Mike Tyson as a kid knocking people out. Ooh, imagine this, that kind of commercial, but with a voiceover of Jake Paul talking trash about Mike Tyson. Like, so Mike Tyson is wailing on guys. Jake Paul is wimp. That's sweet. That's cute. Over the top of it. And then it's like, the talking is over. Just like Mike Tyson said at the end of this weigh-in, they're like, any words, Mike? He's like, the talking is over. Actually, I got chilled thinking about, I didn't see any of that. Because for me, it's, how I feel about Michael Jordan and, LeBron James. It's like, when someone's like, when someone's attacking maybe your childhood sports hero, like, you're going for him, and they didn't do any of that. Or, Jake Paul, I think marketing can go as hard as a marketing machine can go as hard as the person carrying it. So Jake Paul, he says all kind of wild stuff. So then is it, exciting a young base? Like, how dare this old man step in the ring with me? I don't care who he was. Same thing. He's warming up. Mike Tyson, voicing all that stuff can be in play to ignite that. That didn't happen. It reminds me of the Democratic election campaign. There was no ignition, and there could have been to really send it off. I mean, maybe because you get to a point where it's like, oh, well, just by itself that works. But if you're talking about an explosion of possibility, that's where Netflix probably missed the mark a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Of course, Netflix has millions of users. Maybe they're internally advertising it, but I watch Netflix pretty regularly. I don't watch it all the time, but I watch it pretty regularly, and I don't remember seeing a lot about it. I remember seeing more on social media. So maybe internal stuff. I think, and this is where I really believe our expertise could help a lot of like larger companies, is taking stuff from one industry and using it in the other. So like all business is show business. I think they should have taken the more Democratic Republican type of like polarizing view, and not in a like derogatory manner, like calling Jake Paul some names that some people might want to call him. Not anything like that. Right. But to your point, to add on to it, if they showed clips of Jake Paul and then they showed clips of old Mike Tyson, and just old Mike Tyson, just all the clips that we have of him talking deep and talking all this stuff, and him being like the old wise man that needs to go sit down somewhere. And then you got this younger, more popular to the younger people, like, hey, out with the old, in with the new, like that type of thing. Even though Jake Paul will never be a heavyweight champion in the stratosphere as Mike Tyson, but making Jake Paul's base believe that he could be, like having that on that other side. And then, like you said, to your point, having the younger Mike Tyson come in and say, all right, yeah, ain't no way. Because you got, and in our groups and our peer groups and everything, in our minds, our 8 to 15-year-old selves, however old we are when we saw Mike Tyson, in our minds, ain't no way on God's green earth that Jake Paul can at all mess with Mike Tyson in our minds. But Mike Tyson about 60 years old though. So like it's Father Time is undefeated. Is Father Time going to be ushered in by Jake Paul? That could be a line in and of itself. They could, you know what I mean?
Mike Tyson,
so like that, I think that running really on a loop on YouTube, because we don't want to spend too much on advertising, but that running on a loop on YouTube, that running on a loop on all the interviews that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are on out there, different podcasts that are promoting it. Roy Jones helped train Jake Paul. So all that stuff, I think, could have been used.
The nerve of you, Roy Jones, by the way. The nerve of you. Back to you.
Hey, man, everybody try to get paid, bro.
I like two things you said, with the old and with the new. And I could literally see, again, a montage of old Mike Tyson, then go, whoo, Jake Paul is a new, and then screen goes black. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Netflix.
Dramatic demonstration, man.
Can I give you one more thing? I think because again, I don't know who all is on Jake Paul's team. I don't know. I'll say this respectfully. They're not as good as us. Okay. I don't mean from a boxing standpoint, but I mean, who's ever helping you market, they're okay, but they're not good. And it might just be Jake. I don't know, or yes people. This is why I'm saying this. I don't know Jake Paul personally, but I know I seem to understand how he operates. And it seems as though he's like the player. I'm sure you played with some guys in basketball as a hooper. They were just flat out talented. Yes. They didn't practice. They could just show up and hoop and be amazing. I feel like that is what Jake Paul is. He's so talented at being himself. It's like, well, just be more of you. Just do that more. And trying to ride that horse to the very end, because let's say he loses once. Let's say again, he could end up in movies and still land on, but I mean, it's in this realm. Think of not quite Conor McGregor, he's in movies now, or Ronda Rousey. When she lost,
yes,
she had to be an attractive woman that someone was willing to put in movies because that was it. The rah-rah, like we're just going to ride the rah-rah.
right.
And that's what's difficult to do from himself. And folks might just be encouraged, do more of that. Walk up like an ape instead, but just do more of you. You'll be fine. It's like, like longevity. Like, where do you want to be 10 years from now based on the way you market yourself? Strategy. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, bro.
No, that's good. That's good. And that gives everybody watching and listening. That's why we wanted to start the podcast, wordplay. How do you play with your words in a way that you make money? And the dramatic demonstration that we talked about earlier, the fights on Netflix, got a couple people in the comments asking where's the fight. The fight's on Netflix. So if you have a Netflix subscription, you can just watch it. If you don't have a Netflix subscription, ask somebody. I'm pretty sure that somebody that you love, somebody that all of that. But you're talking about something else, and this is when companies work with us on the long term, what you're talking about is really what they want to start capitalizing on. And we're seeing all these athletes doing podcasts who are trying to do it. And so on the face of it, you see people going towards the long term, but I want to go back to it. I want to run it on a loop. You have to get people asking what's next.
Yeah.
A part of my strategy, a lot of people, if you follow me at all, if you know anything about me at all, started my business as a professional speaker. And that's all I was doing for a long time. Then I started getting into marketing. And once me and Stan started partnering up, we built our own association, and that turned into a speakers bureau that is putting other people on different platforms, all this stuff. I want people always asking, dang, what's Odell got coming out next? Like, what's he got for me? Because maybe I'm a fan of him, but he doesn't have anything for me. Maybe I like Jake Paul, but I don't like boxing. Maybe I just like his personality. What's he got next? And that's what we have to continue on. And what happens with athletes is you mentioned Ronda Rousey. Once I know what happens next, like, oh, you got your behind beat. You're not invincible. Same thing that happened to Mike Tyson in many ways. Oh, you're really not invincible. What's next? And as long as you go without answering that question, if you go too long without answering that question, people lose interest, especially now. And so that's why the marketing, you see people pivoting. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think you always have to leave them with that question. I'm going to throw this question to you, Stan, because this is wordplay. Is there any opportunity for an entertainer, for an athlete, or anybody, a CEO or anything? Is there an opportunity? This is a trick question from me to you.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about when you get the answer pop up in your head. Is there any way for them to continue to thrive without words?
Without words?
Without words.
Continue to thrive without words. Having someone speak on their behalf. Like, it sounds wild to say this. I don't know. Press secretary, chief of staff. Hey, you can't find the words, no problem. Let me do it. The president of the United States has a press secretary, a chief of staff. So What would an athlete be? What would be wrong with a multi-million-dollar entity having someone speak on their behalf, especially if that person is better with words than they are? I don't know. That's my thought. That's my thought. How's it going, Deanna?
I think there's no way, bro. There's no way that you can continue to thrive and be interesting without words.
Whew.
Without good words. And that's why, and we're gonna do a couple episodes where we're giving feedback and reviewing different podcasts. But that's why the podcast scene is blowing up so much is because of words and people that are interesting in saying the words and people that are doing those different things. You have to have good words. You have to know how to articulate yourself. And I'll go back to Mike Tyson to stay kind of on point where we've been. Mike Tyson, when he first came in, he was just knocking people out. It was just, we've never seen this before. Like, is he greater than Ali? Is he greater than Frazier? He's like a mix between Frazier and Ali. And He's 5'10", but he's knocking out these big dudes. Blah, blah, blah. Then Buster Douglas enters the chat. Knocked his mouthpiece out his mouth. Knocks him out. And then it's like the mystique of Mike is gone. It's like that. Then he goes to prison. Then he gets out. And then the mystique is back because it's like, yo, he been in prison. He been doing this. He been doing that. Then insert the chat. You got Lennox Lewis. You got a Evander Holyfield. And it's like, yeah, Mike ain't the same Mike that he was, and it kind of drifts off into the ethers. He resurfaces when he starts using words.
Yeah.
He starts talking about Islam and his, he gets, the tattoos on his face, dramatic demonstration. He starts doing that stuff. And then it's like, yo, Mike is actually like kind of deep. I want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear the stories that he has to tell. Man. And so now that's where we kind of are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great thing for people that have that heat. Like, imagine Ronda Rousey, and I know she went through some mental health stuff when she got knocked out.
That'll do it to you.
What'd you say?
That'll do it to you. I guess some whoopings around there. That nothing gets you quit. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I get it. I get it. I haven't been. I got knocked out one time. That's a story for another day. I got knocked out one time, and you actually met the person that knocked me out. But that's another story.
You met them after? Another day. We'll talk about it later. Like afterwards.
But yeah, it changes things a little bit. But imagine Ronda Rousey just talking about what happened. Just talking about how she thought she was preparing, but she had 10 different photo shoots in between, and she wasn't able to prepare the right way, and boom, she gets knocked out. It's like, what's next? Here's something, Stan, I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna give it to him for free. And before we log out, you all are listening to Wordplay. This is the podcast where we teach high-level businesses, high-level entrepreneurs how to play with their words so that they get paid and not get played. But anyway, this dramatic demonstration is the supreme thing to do. If you are somebody that at one point in your life, you were amazing. Let's say you were Mike Tyson in your industry at one point, but you're just not there now. Or let's say that you're Jake Paul and you're on the way up, or you're at the peak of your powers. This is the thing that's going to continue going on, even when you don't hit it, when your jab ain't as sharp as it used to be, when your feet don't move as fast as they used to. This is it. You ready, Stan? This is going to be good. Your eyes are going to get big. You're going to be like, wow, you're going to realize it. My business partner is actually really smart now that I hear him say it. Genius. This is it. Establish the platform for the next. Whoa. That's it. That's it. You see a Kevin Hart, but then you see other people that come behind them. You start seeing that, and you're wondering, like, how did that person get there? How did that person get there? How did that person get there? Why is Kevin Hart still what he is? It's because when you are on a platform, the best thing you can do is create a platform for other people like you to come up. That's
Ooh.
the absolute thing, because you'll never, ever lose sight of your audience because the story will continue on. Same thing. Stan, solid guy, becomes a professional speaker. I meet Stan in 2009 at a conference. Stan says, hey, keep coming, man. Hey, and make sure you're good, because the better you are, the more we'll all get paid.
Bro.
He tells me that. So I take heed to his advice. A few years later, I'm giving out that same advice. Now we've combined our powers and we're putting other people on platforms. So still people are like, dang, they still, okay, now there's this person. There's a Kalen, there's a Demetra, there's a Chris Molina, there all these people starting. They're like, where did you come from? It's like, oh, well, actually, over there. You should go over there too. People will continue to go. And this is the last thing before I throw it back to you. Imagine, and I don't know if he's done this or not, because I'm not deep into the boxing world, but imagine if Mike Tyson, after he got knocked out, was like, you know what? I'm going to start training the next Mike Tyson.
Oh my God.
Something that simple. Jake Paul, this is for you and your team. Where's the next Jake Paul?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got Logan, but then there's you, and then is there somebody else out there? That is like supremely the dramatic demonstration that will keep you going on and on and on.
I mean, they're busy, but tag them anyway. Tag Micah and Jake. I think they could get a lot from this. They won't watch it now, but they'll watch it later. Nice themselves down.
One of them gonna get knocked out.
One of them going to sleep. Because here's, money isn't enough. I know we'll get out of here soon. Money isn't enough. And let me preface it by saying, get money. Get all the money. Get it.
Say it again. Say it again.
Don't feel bad about being paid. Don't feel bad about getting money. Everything we do from the moment we wake up or when we go to sleep costs money. The lights you all see around us cost money. Like the bills are rolling. So why should we feel bad about being compensated for our expertise, for what you do well? Well, I'm saying all that and reminding you that in your career, there has to be a what's next. Why do you think professional athletes or your favorite actors, actresses, where do you see them trying to get on television, trying to start their own podcast? You see that because the money alone in a vacuum is not enough. They have to have a way to get out whatever is in. One of the best questions I asked Steve Smith. I don't know if you know Steve Smith. NBA legend, Miami Heat. Anyway, but saw him in the airport, talked to him, and a brief interview, like I do like to do with all folks I meet, especially those folks who are high profile. I was like, hey, so what's something that no one ever asked you and you wish they would? He was like, how it all started. Now think about that. He's been on interviews with a bazillion people. No one's asked him that. But what I do see is a lot of folks, a lot of former athletes and celebrities starting podcasts before they're ready, because they have not found the words. That is why a lot of them, respectfully, will get on a show with Skip Bayless or another or a Stephen A. or a trained journalist. That is like a 7th degree black belt in Taekwondo. When you are a professional athlete and you get on television with a trained journalist, respectfully, you are out of your league, because they've been training in words for their entire life and you've been training in a sport. What you must do now is begin to train with your words so that you don't get so upset and flabbergasted that you can't respond, that you are caught up because you aren't able to find the right words. And literally, they were just setting the trap, especially in debate shows. A great journalist is just setting the trap because they will almost never run out of words. So a Kevin Durant that every few years finds a way to get into it with Stephen A. or whomever. If Stephen A. had to play you one-on-one, he would not have a chance. But Stephen A. has you from a journalistic vantage point. He's got every chance in the world. You will never win, respectfully. And that's why it's important to make sure you find folks like us and pay us to help you with your words so that you're not starting a podcast or, guess this, going as a guest on a podcast before you're ready. That's all the folks you see. I know people give Russell Wilson a hard time sometimes. He he since passed away, but he had his own personal mindset trainer with him that traveled with him, if I remember correctly. There are levels to this.
His mindset guy passed away?
Yes, several years ago. It might have been pre-COVID. Yeah, he had an illness, but his name escapes me right now. Trevor, maybe it was Trevor or something, but great guy. Everything I ever heard about him was amazing. But there are levels to this. And my last thing, if you have any questions, let me know. But Mike's What Next, I think is interesting. But to your point, his words helped him create his What's Next. But it was what would have happened if he never went to prison? What would have happened if he stopped, if he wasn't drinking before fights? Like all that stuff was happening. And so then when you reemerged, like words revived Mike Tyson. Words. Words. People stopped being afraid of him as long as he was sitting on the couch. Words. Anyway, this is really good.
This is good, y'all. This is
really
good. This is the second episode of Wordplay. It's a new podcast again where we teach high-level businesses, high-level entrepreneurs, high-level people how to make more money with their words and how not to play with their words. So if you like this, make sure that you're sharing it out. If you are somebody that has a lot of money, but you're looking for the right people to train you or to create marketing campaigns so that you continue to thrive, make sure you check us out. I'm Odell Bazell II. He's Stan Pearson II, but you heard it here first. Wordplay, baby. Let's get it.